In episode 1, we talked about the stars who never got the same longevity LeBron's been blessed with. Now we step back a little further to the 90s and 80s when giants walked the hardwood and rewrote what basketball could be. These cats didn't just play ball, they changed it. They made kids dream bigger, coaches think different, and front offices imagine a new kind of superstar. But the truth, their bodies couldn't keep up with their vision. They were prototypes before the league was even ready for them. Let's get into the next 5 names in our top 15 NBA what-if players. The ones whose greatness was too big for their frames. Yao Ming, the global giant who could have changed the world. When Yao Ming came into the league in 2002, he wasn't just a rookie. He was a revolution. 7'6", graceful footwork, soft touch, IQ for days. He wasn't just repping Houston. He was carrying China on his back. Opening night against Shaquille O'Neal in 2003 was his moment. First few possessions, Shaq tries to body him, and Yao blocks him twice right out the gate. The Toyota Center went wild, and suddenly the whole world knew the big man could ball. That season, Yao averaged 13.5 points, 8.2 boards, and led all centers in All-Star votes, over 1 million. As a rookie, by 2007, he was giving teams 25 and 10 a night, matching up with Shaq, Duncan, and KG like a vet. But his size came at a price. Stress fractures in both feet, knee surgeries, the kind of pain that never really heals. By 2011, the global ambassador of basketball was forced to retire at 30. If Yao stays healthy, the Rockets and the NBA look different. Maybe Houston sneaks past LA or Dallas in those mid-2000s playoffs. Maybe the league's worldwide explosion happens years earlier. He was the bridge between continents, and that bridge collapsed way too soon. Bill Walton, the original what-if big man. Before Jokic was threading dimes from the top of the key, Bill Walton was doing it with a red afro and a pair of beat-up Nikes. 1977 Finals, Game 6. Walton dropped 20 points, 23 boards, 7 assists, 8 blocks, and dragged Portland to its first and only championship. He followed that up with an MVP in 78. He was that mix of old-school grit and new-school vision. A center who thought like a point guard, but then came the injuries. Foot fractures that wouldn't heal. Bones that didn't cooperate. His Blazers dynasty, gone before it ever started. Walton reinvented himself years later as the 6th man of the year with Boston. Smiling through the pain. Rocking tie-dye, still preaching peace, still hooping. Imagine if his feet held up, Portland might have been the dynasty of the late 70s. Maybe Kareem's Lakers don't run the West unchecked. Walton was the prototype, proof that a big man could play like a maestro. Tracy McGrady, the scorer who never got a second round. T-Mac had that effortless sauce. 6'8", long arms, jumper like poetry, confidence like he'd seen the future and knew he'd cook you. In 2004, against the Spurs, he delivered one of the wildest finishes ever. 13 points in 33 seconds. Threes and ones, steals. It was like he'd hacked reality. The Rockets won the game. The crowd lost its mind, and T-Mac's legend was sealed. But that was also his curse. Back spasms, shoulder issues, knees giving out mid-prime. He never made it past the first round as a lead dog. From 2001 to 2005, he averaged 28 points a game, back-to-back scoring titles, multiple All-NBA nods. Kobe once said, "The toughest player I ever had to guard was Tracy McGrady." T-Mac and Yao were supposed to rule Houston like a two-headed monster. Injuries said otherwise. If both stayed healthy, the team might have been the Warriors before the Warriors. A dominant inside-out show that ruled a decade. Chris Webber, the king without a crown. C-Web was different. Handle like a guard, court vision like a QB, power like a linebacker. His peak came with the Sacramento Kings, early 2000s. Mike Bibby, Peja Stojkovic, Flade Divac. They called it the greatest show on court. Ball movement, flash, energy. They had the Lakers sweating. Then came Game 6 of the 2002 Western Conference Finals. The infamous ref game. Missed calls, phantom fouls, momentum gone. Sacramento should have gone to the finals. They never recovered. A year later, Weber tore his meniscus, had microfracture surgery, and was never the same. He'd already lived one heartbreak at Michigan, calling that timeout in a 93 Final Four, college or pro. His story always stopped one step before glory. Healthy C-Webb changes history. Maybe Kobe and Shaq don't three-peat. Maybe the Kings finally get their crown. Ralph Sampson, the 7'4" unicorn before unicorns. Before KD, before Giannis, before Wemby, there was Ralph Sampson, 7'4", silky handle, soft jumper, and the coordination of a wing. When he entered the league, scouts didn't know what to call him. A center who moved like a guard? That was science fiction in 1983. In '86, he and Hakeem formed the Twin Towers in Houston. And in the Western Conference Finals, Game 5, Sampson hit a crazy turnaround buzzer beater over the Lakers to send Houston to the NBA Finals. Magic Johnson just stood there in disbelief. But the knees started barking early. By 28, he was bouncing between teams, battling injuries that stripped away that agility. Healthy Ralph could have been the first true unicorn. A mix of Giannis's stride, KD's touch, and Kareem's height. Instead, he became the forgotten chapter of what was coming next. These were the players who taught the league that talent alone couldn't beat time. Yao carried the weight of a nation. Walton redefined how a big man could think. T-Mac had scoring down to science. C-Webb brought swagger to Sacramento. Ralph Sampson showed us the blueprint for today's positionless stars. But their bodies said nope. It's wild. Each of them gave us a glimpse of where basketball was headed. They just didn't get the mileage to finish the journey. Because greatness isn't just skill or numbers. It's durability. And for these legends, destiny had an early whistle. Next time, we step into episode 3. The modern tragedies and off-court what-ifs. From Len Bias to Steve Francis to DeMarcus Cousins, we'll see how fate and decisions off the court change the course of entire franchises.